It's Monday, August 10, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. Thanks for joining us. One of the 95 nurses that arrived from Ghana about 2 weeks ago is being treated for malaria. Word of this from Chief Medical Officer Dr. Kenneth George as he briefed the media about the development of a press conference this evening. He assured there was no need for undue concern, saying that health officials are on top of the situation. Malaria is spread by the bite of an infected Anopheles mosquito.
We are currently making sure, as based on international protocols, how malaria is treated, that we use these protocols and use the appropriate drugs and at the appropriate time for the appropriate duration. Please recall that in Barbados we get about 2 to 3 cases of malaria every year. These are usually imported cases because we don't have malaria as endemic disease in Barbados. But the 2 to 3 cases tend to come out of cases from South America, people traveling, and we have managed those cases in the past. And we will manage this case and any further cases that are likely to come about.
Meanwhile, head of the Infection, Prevention, Control and Infectious Diseases Program at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Dr. Corey Ford, said the nurse with malaria does not have COVID-19 and is in secondary isolation.
We do have that one patient in our secondary isolation area who is negative for COVID. He's the only patient there and will remain the only patient there who has a positive diagnosis made for malaria. Fortunately for us in Barbados, we've had the appropriate medication to commence therapy, and we have gained even more strides in getting further medication to treat this case of malaria. In terms of the actual patient's condition, he's actually quite well. We started him on one of the best drugs there is out there to treat malaria. And he has responded quite well. And we added another agent to that only yesterday, and he continues to improve. We really have had no significant challenges in terms of his management. In terms of malaria in general, it is not something that we have not treated in Barbados. If you recall, about a year or two ago, we had at least, I think there were about 6 to 8 people out of Guyana who we treated for malaria, and prior to that we had cases from Kenya as a visitor and Nigeria. So it's not something that we see about here at all, but something that certainly myself am not uncommon with treating people with malaria, whether it was in training in Africa directly or in Canada as well.
Meanwhile, in today's COVID-19 update, a 52-year-old man who came into the island on a chartered flight yesterday has tested positive for the novel coronavirus. The Ministry of Health and Wellness said today this brings the total number of recorded cases in Barbados to 143, 75 females and 68 males. No one was relieved from the isolation facility today, so the number of people there is now 24, 15 males and 9 females. 112 people have recovered from the illness and there have been 7 deaths. The Best de Santos Public Health Laboratory conducted 127 tests yesterday, bringing the total number of tests performed to 13,143. In other news this Monday, Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment Minister Dwight Sutherland is disappointed at the rising level of criminal and violent activities among the youth, and he believes authorities ought to be more concerned. Pointing to the number of people currently in prison under the age of 35, Sutherland said his ministry is in the process of working with stakeholders to put a program in place to give inmates an opportunity to start a business after their release. Additionally, he's hoping that the Building Blocks project, also known as Blockpreneurship, will help to address the issue of youth unemployment and violence. He was addressing the opening of the Entrepreneurial Development Training Program 2020 for the Building Blocks project at Sky Mall, Hackett Hall this morning.
It is more than just addressing unemployment. It is addressing a fundamental social problem that we have in this country. We are not at the stage of Trinidad or Jamaica as it relates to crime. But we are seeing a high level of deviant behavior within communities. I think up to 2 days ago, we had some incident in Tweedside Road that was very, it brought tears to my eyes to see that we have reached a stage that we're attacking the law the enforcers in this country. So we have a rising challenge of crime, and it's not at the stage of Jamaica and Trinidad, but it is at a level that we have to be concerned as a government and as a people in this country. And I think programs such as these, the Building Blocks program, can address the issue.
Sagicor will begin construction of its multi-million visionary project, the Estates at St. George, set to become the Caribbean's first complete residential community at month end. Word of this from Sagicor's Director of Strategic Projects, Edward Clark, as he addressed the launch of the Nursing Auxiliary Program at the Barbados Community College this morning.
This is the Caribbean's first complete residential community, designed to appeal to those looking for a lifestyle defined by wellness, a strong and welcoming social community, supported by continuing care for its residents as they age. And I'm happy to say that we have recently nominated 2 local contractors to construct the buildings in phase 1 of the Estates project, and I expect that building construction to commence shortly.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, who will govern Trinidad and Tobago? That's the big question as the counting of ballots got underway following today's general election. Today, the 2 main contenders were confident as they observed the day's vote. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley remains optimistic.
I'm relieved that it's come to an end because it was very hard work. It's been a short, hard campaign. But I think it was effective. I think we set about on our platform to communicate with the public by way of information. And it was a campaign of reporting to the population for our stewardship. And I am very satisfied that we run an effective campaign. And I think most of the population would have had access to information that would have been useful and required. And today they lacked on it.
United National Congress leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar lamented the absence of observers to monitor the poll, but she's anticipating a positive outcome in the UNC's favor.
I think it's very unfortunate we did not have international observers, but I call upon all our nationals to be national observers. So I think it's working well so far.
How do you think the party's machinery is working so far across the country?
Thus far, my feedback is I spent all morning, making it happen, and it looks good.
Mrs. Bissessar, the AG just a while ago stated that the Princestown seat is a non-void and they'll be challenging it in court just after the election.
Bring it on, we have a lot of court rules. That seat is a validly nominated candidate for Princestown. Go out and cast your votes and we'll deal with it after. But I have no problems with it.
On the international scene, a gas explosion ripped through a Baltimore neighborhood on Monday, killing at least 1 person, injuring 4, and trapping children as the blast destroyed at least 3 homes. More in this report from Reuters Television.
A major gas explosion ripped through a Baltimore neighborhood Monday, killing at least 1 person and injuring 4, with firefighters still searching for others among the rubble. Blair Adams is Public Information Officer of the Baltimore Fire Department.
It was just before 10 o'clock this morning when the fire department responded to Labyrinth and Ricerstown Road for a report of some sort of explosion involving a total of 3 homes.
At one point, at least 5 people were trapped, some of them children, the Baltimore Firefighters Union said on Twitter. Rescuers picked through the wreckage searching for victims. Neighborhood resident Antoinetta Parrish ran to the scene after hearing a boom that shook her house.
What I saw was houses flattened, and I could hear my neighbors yelling, "I'm in here, help, help." And me and 4 other guys and a couple more, I lost count, were out there just throwing bricks and debris trying to get to them. We could hear like a and we were like, that's gas, we need to move, but them guys didn't care, they just kept throwing blocks, and my heart and everything just dropped. My anxiety went up 10 notches. It was just something I'll never want to see again.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.